The Graphic Histories Podcast.
I got bit by a radioactive bug. I tried an experimental drug. Went up for a stroll on a gamma testing range. I found an enchanted hurricane. I made a serum that made me small. I modified the serum so it would make me tall. Radioactive isotope in my eyes. Dying alien helped me accessorize. I gained the proportion and strength of a spider. Now I'm invincible and I can fly. I lost my sight, my other senses were heightened. I'm gonna put on my pajamas and go fight crime.
Hey there, and welcome to the Graphic Histories Podcast. My name is André and Maillet, and I will be your host. Big thanks to Uka the Mock for our theme song, Superpowers, and big thanks to you, gentle listener, for tuning in once again to another fun-filled show. In today's episode, we talk with Robert Maillet, who, if you're a wrestling fan, you may know as the Kurrgan from the WWE. If you're a film fan, you may know him as the Uber Immortal from 300, Dredger from Sherlock Holmes, the Russian pilot in Pacific Rim, the Minotaur in the Immortals, which is a film I think a lot of people slept on that's really cool. Becky, which is one of his more recent films, which just got a sequel. Very cool guy, very affable guy. And someone I've rubbed shoulders with in the wrestling world a few times, been on a few shows with him, never worked him specifically, which is wrestling speak for I wrestled him. However, we've been on shows together, and he's always been a really kind, nice guy. I've run into him at other Comic-Cons and shows too, so nice to get to know him, get to know more about him, and learn about his experience becoming a professional wrestler and then on to film and what working with certain directors was like and his acting world as well. I learned a bit more about what he's doing nowadays post-COVID. And it's a great talk. Certainly one of the bigger grabs I've gotten for the show, I think, as far as like a guy that's been featured in some pretty prominent films. So that's exciting for me and hopefully exciting for you to tune in. In the wide world of my life, not too much has gone by. The St. Patrick's Day just came by, so if you are celebrating St. Patrick's Day or you had celebrated St. Patrick's Day, I hope you had a good one. Hope it was filled with Guinness and Irish whiskey and a lot of fun. If you're not a drinker, then just fun with friends and family. I have a whiskey club that I started with some friends in which we just all pool money together and then go buy expensive whiskeys and try them. We decided to make that happen on St. Patrick's Day this year and obviously feature Irish whiskeys, which was a good time. And that kind of turned into a bit of a party afterwards, which usually means more drinking happens and karaoke and whatnot. But it was a really, really fun time, and we had a blast. So, great time of year. I never really identified too much with the Irish culture until I went to Ireland, and then I kind of fell in love with it, Scotland and Ireland both. But I did one of those 23andMe tests, which said I was like 65% Irish and English, which I think a lot of white people generally are in their DNA. But, with a name like mine, I figured it was just going to be all French, but not so much, which is cool. The exciting part of that is, getting to feeling like, I don't know, it kind of seems dumb to find out that there's Irish in your DNA, and then suddenly, launch yourself in getting a shillelagh tattoo and all that sort of stuff. I didn't do any of that. But I do feel a bit of a kinship with Ireland, and perhaps that's why. Maybe. Robert and I actually briefly touch upon that, which is funny because Robert's last name is Maillet, which is very similar to my last name because they are derivatives of each other. My last name is a derivative of his. So the original Acadian last name is Maillet, turned into Maillet for some folks, is the more English spelling, or Maillet if you go super English on it. So that is that's we have a connection that way as well, which is kind of fun. So I guess we could get right into it. This is episode number 96. We're chugging along with the show. It's been going for 3 years now, and it's been a blast. I'm really enjoying it. Still loving talking to some of my amazing guests. So hopefully that can continue, and I can keep bringing you fun-filled episodes for the years to come. So please spread the word, tell your friends, subscribe, all that kind of stuff. Help the show get more of an audience, which would help spread the word, which would be very much appreciated. But now, let's not listen to me jibber jabber anymore. Let's get to our conversation with Robert Maillet. Hey, Rob.
Hey, man.
How are you?
Not too bad.
Good. Not too bad at all. Oh, thanks for being in the show, man. This is fun.
Yeah, Oh, anytime. I know it's trying to coordinate. It's tough.
Oh no,
But
I'm assuming you're busy, and I am too, but
a little bit.
smaller things than you. But no, I appreciate it. This is great. Obviously, you and I have connected before in the wrestling scene, but I thought it'd be fun to get to know you in some of the other ways as well, which you've been pretty prolific in. So awesome.
Yeah.
How are things up your way?
Good. Not too bad. Not too bad. I mean, but I don't think I told you about it. I have another career, or a second career, or a third career. I'm not sure how many careers. I work in corrections. So,
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm a correctional officer.
So are you like in the prison system, or are you like a
I am in the prison system.
Oh wow. So you're Dorchester.
Renews.
Oh, yeah. My uncle is the warden of Dorchester, I think.
Is he?
Yeah, Lauren Breen.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Dorchester. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I'm hoping. Well, my plan is. The plan is I'll do my time. It's funny.
Yeah, that is funny.
I do my time, and then in a couple of years I can transfer. I will transfer to Dorchester.
Yeah, probably be closer. That's cool.
It is a little closer, yeah.
Yeah. Well, you must be an imposing guard in the prison system.
Well, I provoke curiosity for sure.
Yeah.
A lot of questions. Some of them are from the staff and then the inmates as well. But they're curious about me at first.
Yeah.
Why are you here? I get that a lot.
Yeah. Well,
why aren't you in Hollywood? So.
Well, yeah. I mean, I imagine it's funny. That's such a like an ignorant thing to ask someone in the like. I do. I do a bit of acting as well, nowhere near as much as you, but it's like it pays well for the one go, but then you need to have it's not like it sustains you forever.
Well, it's not consistent. Well, for me. It depends who you talk to. It depends on something like ask Tom Cruise how it in COVID times how that affected him. No, so it depends on who you talk to, and for me, I had to assess a lot of assessments or reassessments
for
when
sure.
COVID hit. Everything. The first wave, of course, everything stopped. The whole world stopped. And I had to figure out what to do. Either wait it out, or maybe find a part-time job if there was any part-time job during that time in 2020. But I'm trying to think of things to maybe continue acting, but I couldn't see it. I couldn't see the future. I mean, if it was in my 20s or my 30s, I would have waited out.
Yeah.
But I just turned 50 at that time, and for me to find a part-time job, and I don't know, it didn't seem feasible for me to. I didn't know when the acting was going to come back, at that time, and the opportunity was right there for me to go in that correction path, I guess, because I wanted to do it for a while. It was in my head for the last few years. Always wanted to try it, before it was too late, and the opportunity was good. Nothing was going on, 2020, and I had the time to do it, and instead of staying at home, being on CERB.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
As many have.
I went to college. I guess I didn't have to go to college to go for federal, but it helped.
Oh, awesome.
It puts your name on top of the list, and you get familiar with the whole world when you go to college. You learn a lot of stuff, and the routines and the laws and policies and stuff like that, and physical stuff, arrest and control. And then when at the same time you apply for online process, it's a long process. Any federal job is a long process.
Oh yeah. I have some friends that are good. Yeah, I bet.
A lot of testing.
Yeah.
Testing and interviews and psychological testing. And it's the span of a year. And then they invite you for core training for 3 months. And which was in Summerside, which was great. Yeah, it wasn't far. But then again, it was far because this is the new wave, the Omicron wave. last winter, where basically I was stuck on an island for 3 months. I couldn't leave the island, and my family couldn't visit me as well. So it's basically you couldn't put you me back in the prairie somewhere or in Siberia.
Oh yeah.
The same thing. And for 3 months we were stuck there, training. And after 3 months, well, passed all the tests and graduated, and now I'm working at a max prison. So there you have it.
That's amazing. Wow. Do you does anybody recognize you from obviously your film? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for sure, because I wasn't a known actor. My name was out there for movies and stuff.
Yep.
So yeah, they were. They were very, very curious, very interested.
That's amazing.
For me, it brought a lot of pressure for me too, because I wanted to prove myself that I wasn't. Most people thought I was doing it for a role, which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm such a method actor.
Yeah. The well-known method actor.
2 years out of my life to work for a role.
Yeah, I went through all the training and lived in PEI for a year, and did all that there 3 months. Yeah.
I know. Yeah. But saying that, it would help having that background now. It probably will help in the future if you get roles. Sometimes it does help. If you know your background is working in the correctional system.
Well, yeah, even just playing different characters. Yeah, playing different characters, you probably can see a lot of guys that have gone through the system and their motivations and how they react. And
perfect for that role because they know what you did in real life.
Yeah.
But I will not. One thing I will do though, because a lot of films I watch, anyways, over the years, about prisons and about guards, prison guards or they're corrupt. Mm-hmm. All of them are corrupt. Most of them are corrupt.
Pretty much every prison show is
And if they offered me a role, you're a correctional officer. We have this role perfect for you. You'll play a guard too. But if you find out, if I read the script, he's corrupt. No, I won't.
Really? Yeah. Well, that's cool.
No, I wouldn't. No.
You wouldn't do it.
I wouldn't do it. The corrupt guard, even though it's a movie. No, I would not play a corrupt guard.
Well, that's nice of you, the respect for the role.
I'll play an inmate though.
You've definitely done that before.
Well, I did it before a few times, but no, never a corrupt guard. No.
Oh, well, that's sweet. Obviously, you have respect for the role, right? And
well, I do have respect for the job, and I respect for my coworkers as well, right? I mean, it is a dangerous job. It's a hard job mentally, and we're kind of a family, would say brotherhood, sisterhood.
Yeah, I think in any kind of role where you do something like that, I think I kind of crop like security in with not I know they're not all different jobs, but like soldiers, like cops, like anything where you would go through situations that are traumatic, you need to have that support system. Otherwise, you just turn inward and probably lose your mind.
Because you're some days it's nothing, it's boring. You can say it's boring, not to go on, but then there will be days where it's a shit show. It'll be a shit show. And you have to rely on other people. People rely on me, and I rely on them as well to try to protect each other's back. It's all there to try to keep everybody safe. Everybody safe. Staff, especially the officers, and the inmates as well. Make sure they don't hurt each other. Keep them alive and finish their time. Right. So that's the ideal. So no, it's intense. It's a pretty intense job. I mean, when I first started there in Renews, it's a lot of tension, a lot of
Well, you seem like we've only met a few times in passing. We've always seemed like obviously you're a strong guy, but you're also you always seem like a pretty empathetic guy. So like that, I think a guy like you would probably fit well in that role because you can understand where people are coming from.
Your best weapon is not being strong physically. There are a lot of strong guys there too.
Yeah,
a lot of capable guys. But it's not your best asset. There's a lot of all shapes and sizes for officers there.
Yeah,
small people. But that's not your weapon. Your weapon is your mouth. It's talk. Communication is important, highly important. Where to de-escalate the situation. Whatever happens, you use your mouth to talk to them, to calm things down. You know what I mean? That's the most valued weapon there.
I had a brief career when I was younger as a bouncer, and that was always my go-to. I same thing. I'd always just talk someone, and more often, I've never gotten a fight with anyone because I'd always just talk them to the cab and be nice. And I worked with guys that were like total dickheads that just wanted to like look strong. If a guy's falling asleep, they'll grab him, and he'll be like, you're half drunk, half asleep, and someone grabs you, you're probably going to lash out instead of just talking to the guy first. And after watching that a few times, I was like, you guys got to this, it wasn't really the life for me because, I'm just nice. I'm like, we'll put you in a cab, you'll be fine. And they're like, cool. But, most guys will just want to prove that there's some tough guy, and it's never been about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's not going to make a good situation better.
I was a bouncer too, and absolutely, it's the same type of job descriptions. Very much there to.
I would imagine, the skills are transferable.
Yeah, it is. It is how to communicate with people. And I'm approachable, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So you were born in Ontario?
I was born in Ontario.
Wow. So
Georgetown, Ontario.
Was your dad in the military or?
No. My mom and dad, they're from New Brunswick. They're from King County. They're Acadians, and my dad went there for work. Because back in Ontario, back in the day, back in the 60s, a lot of work back then in Ontario. And my dad went to Sudbury, worked in the woods in Sudbury, and then he worked in the Ford factory, the Ford assembly plant in Oakville.
Cool.
And then my mom went there to work in Toronto as a secretary in Toronto, and they met in Georgetown at a dance. But Georgetown at the time, I don't know about now, but Georgetown at the time was a lot of the French community there, and they met at a dance. My dad was 10 years older, and my mom and her friends snuck up to the second floor with the older.
Oh, really?
And she met my dad, and they were both from the same area, and of course they fell in love, and they got married here at home, of course, and then they went back into Ontario. They bought a little small house, and that's where I was born.
Oh, wow.
And I have no memory of Ontario because I was probably 6-7 months old or something, that decided to make a life back home, back in New Brunswick, make a life there. And so I moved less than a year after I was born.
Wow.
So my only memory is, my birth certificate is still Ontario.
Well, that's what your wiki says. So I noticed that. I thought that was.
Absolutely. So I mean, that's my connection to Ontario. It's the first time I haven't been to Georgetown since I was born, but throughout my life. But I went back maybe 6-7 years ago. I had a day off. I was in Toronto for a movie shoot, and a friend of mine invited me for a drive, just to drive around. It was a day off I had, and then I said, "Can we go to maybe Georgetown?" Oh, sure. Okay, so we drove through Georgetown. First time since I was born. But for me, it was cool because I kept telling people over the years I was born in Georgetown, where it's a place I have no memory of. I was probably born there for some reason. And the first time I drove through the strip, I guess the main street of Georgetown, it was kind of neat. It was interesting, because it is the place where you're born. It's kind of, impactful, I guess, and emotionally, I suppose.
Yeah, well, I think there's a connection to that sort of stuff, even if you can rationalize you shouldn't have one, but I feel like on some base level there is a connection to places, and I don't know, like I'm not into any kind of spiritual stuff, but I kind of think like there's something that feels like home to you that might be somewhere psychologically in there that you don't know. But.
Yeah, but especially when you get older, you can tend to appreciate where you came from and stuff. And even though I grew up in the Maritime, I'm a Maritimer, and I'm an Acadian, but from New Brunswick, but there's a connection from there for sure.
Oh, that's really cool. Was your it's funny too about your generational shift in the ages, because it's like you don't see that anymore about those huge age gaps with I guess you do in like rich people or whatever, but like just the average folk, because my dad's 10 years older than my mom as well, so it's it's just such a strange like I'm 37, so he would have been, I think he was 28, mom was 18 when they got married, so that's just You know, it's like that weird generational thing you don't quite see so much anymore.
No, it's true, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think at the time it was a common thing, but yeah, you're right. But that's a 10-year gap.
Well, it makes sense. At least the guy's established when he's older, right? Like, you know, if you're going to marry someone,
yeah, for sure.
you know, they have a job or a life or something like that. You know, they have plans and stuff put in place than the average young
My
man.
dad enjoyed his time back then before he was married, for sure. He had fun, and then he settled down pretty much by the time we got married. And when we had our kids, me and my two brothers, you know.
Yeah.
And you're right. He was kind of a more, calm or mature, would say. He become a little more mature.
Yeah.
I think that helped me too getting into corrections, into that world, I guess, because at the time of my life, I'm 53 now, so a little more probably experienced or matured, I guess, that helped me through the job. You know what I mean? So,
for sure, yeah. When you were when did your size become apparent? Like, when did you start?
Oh, very, very, fairly early.
Yeah.
Big baby, I guess. My mom was the first one to realize that.
Yeah, she probably would be.
But no, it was always twice the size of my kids my age. Always. Since I was a baby and I grew up. So I was aware of it. I think my first time aware as well, because I always drove with my dad around. My dad always drove around to talk to people. He was a very social guy. And it was so I always dump along with him in his truck and drove him to garage or go to the garage and stuff. And he always said that this is my son. He's only 5 years old. He's only 5 years. Because I was, didn't look I was 5 years old. I looked like he was probably 10 or 15 years old.
Wow. So I'm guessing your folks weren't your dad wasn't a big guy?
My dad was a big guy. No, he was 6'1", 6'2", I suppose.
Yeah.
6'2". Tall guy, and my mom was not small either. For women, my mom's side of her family were they're all tall women.
Oh, really?
A little above average women.
Yeah.
Tall. Five. My mom would have been 5'9".
Yeah. It's tall for women. Yeah.
So both sides of my family, my dad, my mom, there were no short people for sure.
Yeah.
Above average tall.
So your brother's big too, like.
Well, like. My middle brother, Jean-Paul, is probably 6'1", 6'2".
Yeah.
Something like that, 6'1" maybe. But and then my younger brother was 5. I think he's 5'9" or something. 5'8".
Oh, geez. Yeah, I'm sure he was the butt of the jokes, was he? Yeah.
He was a bit,
yeah.
But a 7-year gap too, right?
Yeah,
He's 7 years younger than me, so that probably didn't get the height. But,
watered down the solution a little bit. Yeah, after the years.
That's what I kept telling him. So.
Yeah. So was it like when you were a kid, was it wrestling what you wanted to do, or is that just something you fell into because of your size? I imagine with people that are tall. Yeah.
Well, I think I fell in love with wrestling, watching wrestling back in the mid 80s, I suppose. I think I started watching Grand Prix wrestling. Every Saturday morning. My dad was a fan of it, of local wrestling or Grand Prix, I suppose, and I was intrigued by it. I liked it. It was kind of interesting and different and weird and cool. And then we got cable. Or this is before we got cable. A friend of mine, was our neighbor. He had cable and it was invited us to go see wrestling. WWF wrestling, and that was exciting. So what the hell is this?
Yeah.
Better than Grand Prix wrestling. This is the big time, This is back. Hulk Hogan was on top, Macho and André, all those big names.
The classics.
Golden age, the golden age of wrestling. This is WrestleMania 3 era, and then I fell in love with it, and then for sure, my size probably convinced myself, or maybe my friends of mine convinced me that I could be a wrestler because of the way I looked. I wasn't filled up back then. I was tall and lanky, I guess, but I convinced myself that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to wrestle after high school, I guess. And it's just a crazy idea. I don't think my mom cared for it.
Yeah, I can't imagine any parent would. I only fell into it when I was in my after I'd moved out, and I kind of.
My dad was kind of curious. My dad was kind of
when
he liked wrestling, he understood it. But my dad, basically But as long as you make a living,
Yeah.
that's what counts, But wrestling, you can make a living, but it's not an easy goal.
No, it's a hard road. It's a long, hard road. Yeah.
It's a tough road.
You've went a lot further on it than I did. I mean, I'm still at it, but it's like, it's not a people that romanticize that lifestyle. It's like it's a lot of driving, a lot of hotels, a lot of driving hotels, a lot of like weird ass places, strange promoters, crazy characters. Like it's these shows that are sort of picking up on the back end of wrestling and making like TV shows out of it now. It's like the Rock's one and some other ones. It's like you don't read like people are just realizing how insane of a life it is. It's like a nonstop circus. Like it's like if you like those movies where they show the back end of the circus, watch some stuff about wrestling. Like it's the same thing, just crazy characters and insanity all around.
That's right.
But so you started with Grand Prix, right? Is that through? Did you with? I imagine you walked in the door there and signed you up immediately.
Kind of. Emil went to see Emil Dupre, was the boss back then, and he was at first he wasn't interested, but he wanted me to get filled up, of course, which is true. I wasn't really in the shape I was that he wanted me to be, but but then I went to see Petipov, Stephen Petipov, and I bugged him a bit. He remembered me. He didn't have time at the time for me, but 8 months later, he called me up asking me if I was still interested to get trained, and because they were looking for guys. This is 1990, the summer of 1990, and the three guys. Some of the three guys left the territory to go somewhere else to work at the end of August, I guess. And so they were looking to fill up the spots. So they got three guys, me and two other guys among them. And it was exciting. When I had that call from Petitball, it was absolutely. That's what I kept bugging my friends and family about that, and do it. Let's do it now. And it was a pretty exciting time. It was a good summer, learning the basic stuff. It was a crash course, like only a month's training.
Oh yeah,
headlock bumps.
Yeah.
How to lock up and stuff like that. How to hit the ropes. Basic stuff. How to take bumps. It was a hard thing at first. It was hard. I kept landing on my lower back or bumping my head.
Oh yeah.
But for me, it didn't matter. It didn't matter for me, at least, because my gimmick was the giant gimmick. So
you're not taking a lot of bumps. I
love taking bumps, but then I found out maybe that's not a good idea for my gimmick.
Yeah. Did you do a match where you took way too many and then someone yelled at you?
Yeah.
I've watched that before.
I did too. Yeah, that happened a couple of times.
Usually, Peter Smith's the one yelling at somebody some big guy for taking too many bumps. So
exactly, because you are a gimmick. I am this attraction. If you take too many bumps, then you just become another guy. You're not as different. I am different for sure. You have to appreciate what you have. It took a while for me to understand that. A little bit.
Yeah, well,
I love taking bumps. I wanted to be a wrestler, but then understood, no, that's not. No,
it's funny because like it always seems that way. Like the small guys want to do the big power moves, the big guys want to do flippy, crazy. Like it's always what you shouldn't be doing that you really want to do. Like I was always the same way because like I'm 6'2" and I'm 250 roughly. Like I'm not small, I'm not massive, but I've always been like wanting to do weird like wrestling stuff that like people are like, you're too big for that, don't do that. It's
because we're fans.
Yeah, exactly. That's you want to do all parts of it instead of just keep your windows small.
I understood my role in it now. Okay, no, I don't have to do that.
I assume once that happened, you started going way ahead, right?
Yeah, and which is good when you understand your role in it. I love the Goliath, David versus Goliath story. It was just fun because you're right. You got the small guy people get behind the small guy trying to be the big guy. That's an instant. That's automatic. Yeah, pretty much.
The audience connects immediately with that.
Yeah, the fan gets support from him to him.
Yeah.
And when I only have to take one bump, one or two bumps maybe towards the end, and the crowd pop, it works. It does work, and I love it. So it's fun.
Yeah. No, I'm actually have a show coming up this weekend, or next Saturday, this Saturday coming. here in Truro. I run the New Breed Wrestling, so
Oh,
yeah, so you're getting used to that. But yeah, it's like that crowd reaction. I tell people when I'm talking about it, because people have been asking me for tickets and stuff. Just like, if you haven't gone to a wrestling show live, just try it once. You'll be surprised what it feels like. Beyond, like, you watch it on TV, that's fine, but like in a live environment, when you get the crowd, like the energy,
absolutely.
and the kids, and like it's such a spectacle to watch everyone get into it. It's the best. It's like
Any sports venue, the TV doesn't do it justice.
No.
Hockey, baseball, or
Oh yeah, I know, you're right. Yeah, it's not just
wrestling.
exclusive to wrestling.
You have to be there live to appreciate it. It is true. It's just the energy, the noise, and you get sucked into it. For sure. I remember. Well, Moncton, when they first came to Moncton, WWF came to Moncton. This is back in '88, August '88, actually. And first time they came to Moncton was pretty exciting. So I got tickets right away. We were on the floor, and it was pretty.
You're like towering over the wrestlers from the front floor.
Well, I was in the front row.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But it was the Macho Man was the champion at the time, and it was against Ted DiBiase for the main event.
So that would have been amazing.
But the crowd, the noise, it was pretty exciting.
Yeah, it's enough to hook you.
Yeah, I understood that. I understood that. As the fan part of me. When you wrestle, as you would know, you were a fan. When you wrestle, you can understand what the fans sees in the match, because you were a fan. You're still a fan, I suppose.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think people, like, I don't understand wrestlers that aren't fans of wrestling. The guys that, like, I understand them, whatever. It's a gig, but like, I'm like, how can you not? Do, like, it's like being an actor and not liking at movies. Like, how could you do that? And you know what I mean? Like, it's just, to me, it's just strange.
You do it for the money, for the payments. And
to me, it's hollow to me. I mean, whatever. People make money, but it just seems hollow to me. So, so when did WWE start come calling? Like, how did that connection happen?
Well, it happened twice. It's like I had a first attempt at it, I guess, a first tryout. Happened in 1991. This is when I was still working for Petapah in Grand Prix when they all retired. And I got the call. I think they heard about me from Leo Burke. I think Leo Burke mentioned to one of the agents, because they were all friends with the agents. Pat Patterson, maybe, I'm not sure. They called me up. This is in November of '91 to do a tryout. And I wasn't really ready for it, and I wasn't physically ready for it. I was burnt out over the summer. It was a long summer. You work every day, 7 days a week. Well, and then I got the call to go to try out in upstate New York, in Utica, New York, for one of their TV tapings. And it was exciting and scared at the same time.
Yeah, I'd bet.
You know what I mean?
A lot of pressure.
A lot of pressure. Wasn't sure about it. Anyways, I still went because I didn't want to miss an opportunity. So I would have kicked myself if I didn't go.
Yeah, for sure.
So I went. First time, it was the first time on the plane. Leaving Moncton, the first time on the plane.
Oh, really?
First time going to the States.
Yeah.
So a lot of first times.
Yeah, that's cool.
I was only 21, probably was going to turn 22 years old.
Yeah.
I was 22 at the time. So, so landed there and picked up at the airport. They picked me up, and they also picked Owen Hart up. He came from Europe. He came from Germany, I guess. And so the first time I met Owen Hart,
wow.
it's very friendly.
Huge, yeah.
Of course. And then drove to the arena, and got to the arena. It was already packed. Already people were, the show started already, and that's where I went backstage and met everybody was there from that time. Everybody, and I remember seeing memories of seeing Ric Flair and Roddy Piper.
Oh wow!
And Brett was there too. I didn't really talk to Brett there because Brett was a huge influence later on to get into WWF, but not at that time. I saw Brett. I saw Undertaker. I remember the Undertaker. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah, that's awesome.
Everybody was there,
Yeah.
and it was like if I was a fish out of water.
Yeah.
What the fuck am I doing here?
Yeah.
What's such a mark?
Yeah.
And then they put me up against this guy, this jobber, I guess, Bob Bradley. He was a job guy for them, and we set up a match, and it was a dark match before, and yeah. Gorilla Monsoon. When they called it the gorilla position, well, Gorilla Monsoon was at the gorilla position. And he wasn't really too friendly.
Really?
He was busy guy. He was, he had the role of the guy at the before the curtains, And then, what's your name? The Acadian Giant. What? The kid? What? I call you the Cajun Giant. Cajun.
Yeah.
Cajun. I guess we are kind of.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, it's connected.
Along.
That's where
Cajun
Cajun came from.
Yeah. Cajuns, all right, that's fine. Cajun.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever, I don't care.
You're coming out in a Louisiana outfit.
Yeah. Well, I did have the lumberjack outfit too.
Oh, right.
So,
yeah, that's funny.
And then
That's
they called
awesome.
my name. They called my name. Okay. The monsoon said, "Okay, go." So went through the curtains, and then you can hear the crowd behind the curtains. Of course, it was full packed house. It was a packed house. Come out, and they didn't know who I was. Obviously,
Yeah.
Who the fuck is that? They booed me. They booed me. They didn't boo me in the ring.
Yeah.
They booed me on the way to the ring. I was like, holy, that was a long walk.
Yeah, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Were you supposed to be the? You weren't supposed to be the face in this scenario, were you?
I was technically a face.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, I was technically, because Bob Bradley was kind of a heel.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
This is the guy who was Battle Cat, right? That was Bob Bradley.
Huh?
Battle Cat. That was Bob Bradley.
Could have been, yeah.
I think it was. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. He's a good guy. He's a good worker too.
Yeah.
But so we did the match. It wasn't by the books match, whatever you call it. You know what I mean? The crowd wasn't into it at all.
Yeah.
Just by kind of a basic match.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't do any fuck ups, but you can tell it was green.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was because I was fucking nervous.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
I was just nervous. Everything is so overwhelming.
Yeah.
But then we did my finishing move was the side slam was my finishing move at the time, and then 1, 2, 3 got over, and then went back to the back, and then the agents came out around Tony. I don't remember Tony Guerrera. I remember him at the time, and there was a couple of them, and asking me, I forget what the words they said. That I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
We'll come back another time. Come back next time. This time you're not ready.
Yeah.
So what's I knew, but what's was still I didn't want to hear that either.
Yeah, of course. It's a blow to the ego, regardless.
It is. It was disappointment because I thought it was going to be my last time, but my only try with them. That was the big disappointment. But no, 4 or 5 years later, I got the call again to do a second tryout, I guess. But this time it was through Leo Burke. I was in the Maritimes at the time. Nothing was going on. I wasn't wrestling that much. I was bouncing a lot, and I got the call from Leo Burke asking me if I was interested. He told me that Bret wanted to meet me. Bret Hart wanted to meet me because at the time Leo was a trainer for Bret at the time at his house in Calgary. And then I said, absolutely. That's another important call. Stephen Pettifall call was important to start my career, I guess, but my wrestling. But the call from Bret, from Leo, was a big deal, And so they flew me to Calgary and to meet Bret for the first time, and I was there for like a month training to see if I knew the basics. I was a little rusted, but I knew how to headlock and like that. And I had these. I was a bit bigger, a little bit more filled out at the time than when I early in my career. And then, after a month, then Leo helped too. Leo,
Oh yeah, one of the best.
He's a
Leo.
mentor. He was a mentor.
Yeah.
For sure.
Oh yeah. I mean, for
yeah.
those who
So,
don't know, he's probably one of the most underrated and probably best wrestlers to ever come out of Canada.
yes, he is. And it's sad to hear that lately he's been suffering from dementia.
I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard he's pretty far gone now.
Yeah. So
Which is
very
a shame.
sad.
I met him a couple times on tours out here, and he's always a real joy to talk
Very
to.
friendly man. Very friendly guy. He's always there to give me advice and help.
Yep.
And especially for him to connect me with Brett, I was pretty grateful for that.
Yeah, amazing.
Sure.
Well, he was.
He
was producer for WWE for a while, wasn't he? Leo was
Leo?
earlier. Yeah.
No, it wasn't. Not even a booker, just a trainer.
Okay, yeah.
I don't remember being a booker. No,
I thought he did something with them earlier on, but I don't recall. Maybe not.
Mostly a trainer. I know he worked for WCW for a little while.
Oh, okay. Maybe that's what I was thinking of. Yeah.
Yeah. But I know that Kevin Nash invited him to take a flew him to somewhere in the States, and he didn't know. Nash didn't know who Leo Burke was. He just threw him in because he had money to fly him in. He knew he was a trainer, but he didn't know.
Oh, really? That's funny.
But no, so Leo was there throughout the whole time. And when I was in Calgary now, so they thought I was ready for it. And then I got back home for Christmas, vacation, I guess. But then in January or February, they flew me to Stamford, Connecticut, which is the headquarters of WWF. And that's where I met the boys, my Truth Commission guys.
Oh yeah.
And then to know each other, how to work together at their facility in Stamford. And that's where the first time I met Vince McMahon, which was pretty intimidating. He's the man.
Yeah.
I remember he liked my look, and of course how big I was, and I liked my look, and so it was a plus for him.
You've always seen him depicted a lot in, like documentaries or stuff where people talk about him, but I kind of feel like the Vince McMahon that I like in my head to picture what he's like, and you can tell me if this is true, is the Wrestling with Shadows documentary where he's talking to Darren Drozdov, the guy that became, he was talking about the puke gimmick, and he was like, he's gonna puke. Like that was like that's the Vince McMahon that I like in my head imagine him to be most like in a day-to-day. Like he just seems excited, like he'll pick on something.
He's a fan.
Yeah, that he likes of you, and he'll take it to the nth degree, and that's like kind
of if he likes you, absolutely. If he likes you, no, you're right. I mean, my interactions with him are probably not as close as some guys are, I suppose.
Yeah.
But he was always been friendly with me. He comes up to me when I appear at the building and, "Hi, Robert, how you doing?" You know? Good, sir. And you try to come up words to make sure you don't embarrass yourself.
Oh, of course, yeah.
Good, sir. Huh? Good, sir. Thank you. So to be my nice guy.
Yeah.
So I don't want to screw that up because he always give me working for his company. He always give me opportunities.
Yep.
To shine, he give me a couple opportunities to make a go at it because they invest a lot of time and money on me. I guess,
for sure.
So I didn't want a disappointment on my side of the thing. Mm-hmm. But it didn't come quick. Obviously when I met Vince and my team, they decided to send us down to the Memphis, for more training. They didn't have Florida thing, performance facility. This is where, at the time, was with Jerry Lawler.
Oh yeah,
was in USWA, and that was their farm team, I guess, farm promotion. So we were there to get training, to get experience, and then get ready for the big call to go for the big show. Mm-hmm. That's the plan, right? And it was a little stressy because there's no guarantees.
Yeah.
There was a big risk.
Yeah.
So they flew us down to Memphis. We had to find places to live in small studio apartments, and had to find a minivan to rent. Because we're like 5 of us in the van.
Oh yeah, way too big. Yeah.
We did shows 7 days a week, like the Maritimes, 6-7 days a week. Maybe 3 times a day.
Wow.
For Saturday it was 3 times.
Wow.
A morning TV show, TV taping. there's a studio in Memphis, and then a matinee show in Memphis, and then drive down to Nashville. It was about 2 hours to do an evening show. It was I hated that.
Yeah, I would imagine.
It was just a long day. I was just driving. But and then they told us we're going to stay there for like a month, maybe. Okay, a month. No, maybe not. Maybe 2 months. All right.
Yeah.
So maybe 3 months. And I came down to 4 months.
Wow.
4 months. So we weren't sure if they want to call us or not. And I was like, my God, it was stressy because I couldn't go home. I couldn't afford to go home.
Yeah.
Really, because it wasn't Memphis, Tennessee, but it's a long way from New Brunswick.
Yeah,
I didn't have the time, or I couldn't afford it. And I didn't have Skype or
to talk to your family. Yeah,
at the time that didn't exist, So that's 25 years ago. But so doing phone calls all the time, once in a while. So it was tough. It was tough, but it paid off. You know, they offered us contracts at the end. Well, contracts. They offered us a tryout.
Yeah.
In Detroit. It was in Detroit, Michigan. It was a do or die match, pretty much.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Like what pressure.
Yeah. No pressure.
Yeah.
It was a 6-man tag, three against a 6-man tag. And one of the jobbers was Rhino before it became Rhino.
Oh, right.
Yeah, he was a big kid then too, big legs.
Yeah.
But we did the match and got over it. The agents liked it. I think Vince liked it, and got offered contracts. They let Mike Halleck go. Mike Halleck was on our team. He was a mentor back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And they let him go after that match, and they replaced him with Luc Poirier, who's from Quebec. He's known wrestling in Europe and Germany as a Rambo. The Rambo had a Rambo.
Oh yeah. Yep.
But Luc Poirier was a good guy. We connected with him. He was a friendly guy, nice guy, and good worker too. And I think the team got better. The chemistry got better. And
it was a strange. I mean, the Truth Commission was kind of a strange stable at the time. I mean, even back. I mean, you've been in quite a few strange stables over the years.
Sure, the Oddities.
Of course. Yeah.
But you're right. It was a bit different. At the time, it was the whole gang. The gang.
Militant cult kind of thing is kind of the
Yeah. Well, I mean, also the gangs. They were working with the gangs as well as they got the Nation of Domination.
Right.
They got the DX, I suppose. The Los Barricos.
Yes. Yeah.
And the DOA, the bikers.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Peppers of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
So a lot of the gangs, and then we got us.
Yeah.
So that was the gang phase, I suppose, of that year. So that's how we got in. I suppose that quick, and it was pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting to finally sign the contract, and
you had a good run there. Did you look back fondly on your time at WWE? Or did you feel?
I do, absolutely. Yeah. No, it's good memories. It was pretty exciting. It was like an adventure. It was a dream. It is a dream job. It was a dream to be in the WWF and finally being there. It was hard to stay in. You know what I mean? You're finally there, but then it's an whole other thing to stay there.
Yeah. I feel like the politics game in WWE must be, I don't know what it's like now, but just like when I talk to people like of your generation that came before me that are like have had a run in it or something, it's like I've talked to Edge a bit about it. We were both on a TV show. That show you were on at Haven out here one time. And I talked to him a bit about it, and just the learning about like the environment and how much work it takes to try to stay on top and stay in the eye, and get your you see stuff like that in wrestling on my level, just much smaller. But to see it in a way like WWE, where it's like $100,000, $1 million contracts, and there's all these people vying for a position and wanting to be
trying to stab each other's back.
Exactly. Like I feel like that environment must be tough, really tough, especially if you're like a fairly kind-hearted sort of person. You don't really want
exactly. With my personality is I'm not aggressive.
Yeah,
I'm just a nice guy.
Yeah, I'd feel bad screwing someone over, right? Like just put myself ahead. So a lot of people don't feel that way in those situations, and that's why they get ahead usually.
It's funny, that Bruce Pritchard. If you heard that name before about it, second-hand man of Vince, and was a talented, talent at the time. And he did an interview recently online, and said that was too nice.
Thanks.
Kurrgan was too nice. You know what? It's but it probably was. It probably what maybe it probably wasn't the reason why didn't stay there for long. Maybe it was too nice, not aggressive enough. I guess you're probably right, but I'd rather be too nice than being an asshole.
Yeah, I agree. It's like if being too nice is what's gonna is a defect to you, then I don't think maybe this isn't my place.
Well, in my career, my other career, my acting career, I got approached a few times to work because when I work with people, when part of an assembly with actors and on set, I'm always friendly and was respectable, and they remember that, and they always call me up for me to come back to work with them because they remember me how nice I was.
Yeah. I often say that to young wrestlers. I say, look, there's nobody that's so good that they're worth putting up with if they're an asshole. I would much rather book a guy that's like 90% as good as another guy that's a nice guy than the other guy, because if he's hard to deal with, like I'd much rather.
Assholes make it to the top that they're assholes, and they're going to come down eventually. And
that's fine. That's why you want to live your life. That's fine, but it's
suffer the consequences how they treat people. You know what I mean? So I'd rather be nice. That's fine. That's fine, Bruce. That's fine.
Yeah, that's hilarious. But wrestling's probably the only industry where you could that is like one of the few industries out there where being nice is a hindrance, which is sad. So how did 300 come along? I see you did the Lex, which seems like every Canadian actor had to be on that show at some point.
Lex, that was my first gig. That was my first day on Lex. That was pretty fun. Trying to pretending to rape a guy.
That sounds like the Lex. Like we've talked about it a few times on this show, just because some people I've had a guy on it that was a storyboard artist for it for a while on the show, and another comic guy, and it
was pretty cool.
It was a very unique and strange show, but it
was kind of Star Trek with a lot of sexual innuendos.
Very dark, weird. Like I actually downloaded it all because I want to watch it, at least watch the first few movies that started out the show and see. Because it seems interesting. Like Tim Curry was on it, and Malcolm McDowell, and like all these crazy people. So it's like I think it'd be interesting to go back and kind of revisit it because I feel like I have these weird. I remember it always came on late at night, and as a kid you'd watch it hoping to see some nudity or something. So it seemed like the kind of show you might see it. But
the lead actress, I forget her name, the German actress. This is So for me, I asked the guy Stanley, the lead pilot, I guess, of the Star. He's all strapped up in a mental institution. He's in the padded room, and he had the Hannibal Lecter mask.
Yeah,
I'm the orderly, and I asked him, "We're going to play house. Want to be mommy or daddy? Want to be mommy or daddy?" He says, "I'm going to be daddy." Okay. And then my lines are, "Okay, daddy, come take a look what mommy brought for lunch." I dropped my pants, and then the scene's over. I didn't show that to my mom or to my family.
Probably not so much. That's hilarious.
Not too much.
So
300?
Yeah.
300? Well, that came. I got the call from. I think they're leaving me messages. I think the stunt guys, the stunt coordinators from the movie, called me up, leaving messages asking if I was interested in working in a movie about fighting, sword fights and stuff. They weren't really specific.
How did they get how did they even know to call you, or how to get hold of you?
Well, they went to approach this another wrestling connection. They went to approach Jacques Rougeau because it was all shot. 300 was all shot in Montreal.
Right.
And they wanted to find a guy, a big guy, I suppose, to play that role, but he was also a stunt actor.
Mm-hmm.
So a wrestler would make sense. So
yeah, of course.
So they went to see Rougeau because they knew Rougeau, the local stunt guys, and asked him if there's anybody who can play it. And he passed out a couple names, and then he passed mine. I guess he auditioned on a big guy as well. It didn't work out. But he passed my name around, my contacts, and they called me up and leave me a message. I didn't really
It's a weird message to get.
Well, it is. You weren't very specific, asking me if we worked in a movie in Montreal, in a sword movie, fight movie. So I think in my head, I'm thinking a low budget movie in Montreal. Because Montreal, I don't think Montreal is a haven for making movies.
No.
At the time, right? So
few do, yeah.
It didn't really capture me at all, so I didn't call back. And then Rougeau finally calls me after a few days, and Rob, he's leaving me messages. He should call him back. They're Warner Brothers. And when he said Warner Brothers, I said, I knew how big it was. How big Hollywood movie, Warner Brothers. Oh shit! I thought they forgot about me. So I called them back, and they were still interested.
Oh, awesome!
They flew me to Montreal for one day to see how I looked, how big I was, and whatever, and did a sword play with them, coordination, stuff like that. I was tired because I was working night shift at my job in Bookchurch. I was a machine operator. I was burnt out, just tired, and didn't sleep. I had to fight early in the morning to go to Montreal. So,
oh, jeez.
So very burnt out, and I thought I was going to lose the role because of that. But at the end of the day, I remember we were on set. I was on set. It was the Spartan set, the Spartan village. And it was pretty cool. Wow, this is cool. And then the stunt guy, the producers, they says, wait here a minute. We're going to talk about if you want you or not, basically. Well, they went towards the corner of the set, of the stage, and talking about me. And I was in the middle of the set knowing this could be my last moment. I said, soak it in. And then they came back and said, yeah, well, we want you. So they told me, didn't have an agent at the time, which I wish I would have. But they offered me how much I was going to make, and it was more than money I was making back home. So, sure, that sounds pretty good. It was pretty good.
Yeah.
How many days they wanted me for rehearsals, for training, and how many days of shooting and stuff. And so it was a lot of time off, a lot of time away from work. So I had to call work to ask him for time off to do it. And they gave it to me, so I had a good boss, and spent a month training, rehearsing. It was cool. And then filming, a lot of prepping, makeup prepping, testing.
Yeah, I mean the makeup in that is extensive and pretty cool.
4-hour makeup, yeah. Well, I loved it though; it was exciting.
It's the standout scene of the movie. I mean, if you pick, it's a great movie. I love that movie.
It is for many reasons because it's the only. If you think about it, in the movie, there's a lot of fights and stuff. Yeah. It's all battles.
Yeah, big battles.
Big battles, armies and armies of big battles. A lot of mesh of Spartans and Persians trying to kill each other. It's just a mesh of. It's the only one-on-one fight.
Yeah.
In the movie, and it wasn't like that in the comic book, which is based off.
Yes, yeah, I read it. Yeah,
it's based on true story, of course, but my character wasn't part of the true history of it. Obviously.
Yeah. Well, I don't think they were actually demons. Like that movie makes them all pretty.
The Iranians were not pleased.
I can see why they wouldn't be. Yeah,
but it wasn't in the graphic novel.
Yeah,
but they had it in the movie just because they needed a break, like a big one-on-one fight with the king and this uber immortal, I guess.
Yeah.
And so for that reason, they did kind of stick out. They had to be a big fight, a big, solid fight.
Oh, it's fantastic. It's
Yeah, it was fun. And even what we did for the rehearsals, they kept it in. They kept it there. In the movie. It wasn't cut out. They did cut some stuff out. But mostly it's all there.
So I imagine. Did you meet Frank Miller? Was he there? The guy that wrote the graphic?
He was on set.
Oh, really cool.
I took a picture with him with makeup.
Oh, really? Nice. And I imagine Gerald Butler must have been a fun guy.
Fun guy, very funny guy, very intimidated of me at first because I had a big broad sword he made for my character.
Yeah.
That was him. Basically, at first I had a thin sword. I didn't want to get beat up by a steak knife. So he made a bigger sword for me.
Yeah.
They can hurt people with,
Yeah.
A broad sword. And there's a point in the scene in the movie where I try to stab him in the head. He blocks it, He he didn't trust me at first, but because I really had to literally aim it towards his face.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was okay afterwards.
Oh,
Very
good.
friendly guy. We were on the streets when my wife came over for the weekend. We were on the streets in Saint Denis in Montreal, and then walking on the sidewalk, and then all of a sudden I see Butler. Just Butler walking towards us, and he remembered me. He recognized me. Hey, Robert!
Yeah.
And then he took a picture with my wife.
Oh, lovely! Yeah,
lovely guy. Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it was a good time. A good time. It was fun. Took a whole year before the movie came out. Which was a lot of
It's gonna be hard to sit on that. You can't really tell most people. You probably signed NDA.
No, I couldn't because I was worried they were going to cut the whole thing off.
Oh, right, yeah. Yeah, that's the worst too. Yeah, you tell everyone about it.
Yeah. But then when the month before the movie came out, you see the trailer and the posters. And the trailer, I'm in the trailer, which is kind of cool. Even that, the trailer sometimes it's deceiving, right? But the character posters, you got posters from Leonidas and the Queen, and then the poster of me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
A single poster, but that's always a good sign up in the movie.
Yeah. You get a full sheet. You're all right.
Yeah, I'm all right. So
I mean,
very excited.
Yeah. I can't go through every movie you're in, but I am interested in a few to talk about with you, and I don't want to take all your time. But what was the Immortals like? Because that's a movie I really like, but not a lot of people talk about. And I thought it was an amazingly cool movie, very stylistic. Rourke was a fantastic villain. Henry Cavill's kind of first big thing, besides that Tudors TV show. And your role on it, obviously, you don't see your face because you're the Minotaur, it was a very brutal character, and a very the movie itself is a cool, grimy sort of look at Greek mythology, which I really liked.
You probably compared to 300.
Yeah, I didn't, but most people probably do. Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
I said, this is like 300. And people on 7 no, you shouldn't say that.
The writers behind you just ringing his script up. Yeah.
Keep it quiet then. No, it was a cool experience. Again, this is a friend of mine I worked on 300, Jean Frenette.
Mm-hmm.
You might not have heard the name, but Jean Frenette, he owns schools, the karate schools in Montreal. His whole career is in martial arts, but he's also a stunt coordinator. He's a well-known stunt coordinator in Canada. He works in the States as well. He did a lot of movies and shows. He worked recently on Reacher, TV series Reacher.
Oh yeah, that's big.
And Jack and the Tom Clancy show.
Jack Ryan.
Jack Ryan.
Yeah.
Worked on those shows. He's one of the best stunt coordinators in Canada, and even in the States.
He must work for Prime Studios then.
Yeah, probably. He's a busy guy, but he was there in Montreal. He's the one who kind of helped me get cast.
Oh well, cool.
He helped me. He's one of the stunt guys, local guys, and he's always behind my back. He's always friendly with me. And he was a stunt coordinator in the Immortals, and he called me up asking me if I was interested in playing the Minotaur. He thought of me playing the Minotaur, but they were looking for a Minotaur, and think, well, Robert could play this part, and called me up, and absolutely, I said yes. I took again. I was still working on my job.
More time off.
Time off, and they took a lot of my vacation time because they were not too friendly as they were in 300. They were kind of fed up with the.
Yeah.
I understand. Anyways, but Immortals was very cool. Yeah, a lot of.
I think the production design was amazing. Your costume was fantastic.
Oh,
all the barbed wire and everything. It was so cool.
It was made by this Asian lady from Japan, Echo. She made the whole wardrobe for Dracula. The Gary Oldman movie.
Yeah.
Dracula.
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
So Academy Award-winning
wardrobe
designer, and she worked on Immortals. She made the suit, the Minotaur, and nice lady, but looks cool and badass. Not very fucking comfortable.
Yeah, I can't imagine.
Very hot, because I had a mask underneath the helmet. The helmet was a helmet bowl of barbed wire, which wasn't real barbed wire. Thank God. But real horns, pointy horns, dangerous. And I had a mask underneath Well, basically, it was basically like this.
Awesome.
Breathing was hard.
Easy to swing a hammer, right? Like,
well, a fight scene. Our fight scene with me and Henry.
yeah.
Cavill.
I'd say Cavill, but I don't know.
Cavill.
Yeah.
Cavill. I say Cavill. It sounds more elegant. Cavill.
It does. It does sound more good. He is English.
He's a handsome guy. So nice man, nice kid, nice guy. Very friendly, very shy too.
Really, yeah. I've heard that about him. He's a big nerd. Like anything he's in, he's like super nerdy. So which I super appreciate. So as one myself.
But he's the set we were fighting on. There was a very small kind of set, and it kind of worked for us. The director liked that because it was small, but there was this big fight scene, this Minotaur versus this big. A lot of fight in a small condensed set. It was kind of a little more visually intriguing, I guess.
Yeah.
But I thought it was pretty dangerous for me because I had this horns was really could hurt people if I was afraid of stabbing Henry in the face, I was very conscious about that. They put tennis balls at the end of it during the breaks,
Yeah.
So,
wow.
yeah, it was fun. It was a fun set. The director is very friendly, very nice. I did some brutal stuff in the movie.
Oh yeah. When the guy in the nuts with the hammer, that's amazing. That's super good.
I have to be very, very good with my swing.
Yeah, it'd be hard with a giant helmet you can't see.
I had to stop it because he was sitting on his ass and against the wall, with the legs spread apart, and I had to swing. This is my
you can't see anything.
Visually impaired. And I had this freaking bat, you look like a Flintstone bat or something. And I swing. I had to stop it right in between his knees before I went too far. And luckily, I was a good aim because when I was young, I was good with the axe, chopping wood back home. So I was pretty good with aiming. So
that's awesome.
And I stopped and. It was fun, just torturing the guy.
Oh man! Well, I mean, that's awesome. I'm sure.
And then I met Mickey Rourke.
Oh,
because he was the villain, and I met him.
Hyperion.
Yeah, and he was an interesting guy. He's a rebel.
He seemed like an intense fellow.
He's intense. He could be intense. He didn't read his lines.
Oh,
he had 5 pages. He's the main villain. He had 5 pages of lines to memorize. He didn't care. He had cue cards, guys holding cue cards. So he was doing the cue card. But if you see the movie, you wouldn't know because he's such a natural gifted actor. He's such a gifted actor.
He's another guy I feel like. I mean, maybe his own like. I mean, I don't know him personally, but just like he's so talented. Like, I mean, The Wrestler is a masterpiece. I think. Yeah, and especially people like you and I who've been on that side of it, you've seen all of that stuff.
I mentioned that this is my connection to when I approached him. I was a wrestler, WWF wrestler. Oh yeah, really? And I asked him how hard it was. Oh, it was freaking hard. And, I had a little bit of a small conversation with him. I took a picture with him too.
Oh, cool. Yeah,
he was a cool cat. Yeah, a cool cat.
Yeah, I always thought he was incredibly talented, but his personality probably got in the way of his.
He's a bit crazy. Yeah,
it's funny to listen to those stories because like it's crazy to me because I do acting as well. I'm in the union and stuff, but I'm never anything huge, but just little parts here and there. And the idea that like you could do that, like with Brando used to do that. He'd wear like a earpiece and someone would feed him his lines from the other room, like just crazy, like just and still doing amazing stuff. It's like
it's still amazing stuff. That's the end product is what's important, I suppose.
So
that's the way. Whatever works.
Sherlock Holmes got your face out there, of course, which is fun. So,
Holmes was a big highlight for sure. A huge highlight for me.
Yeah,
I mean the way I got the part, I think it was maybe through 300. I got the part from that.
Yeah,
because my name was around in the same studio, like in their database, I guess.
Yeah, for big guys.
Well, yeah, the casting director from England, I guess, I got an email from them asking me if I would be available for it. I knew about Sherlock Holmes. I knew they were prepping for it during the summer. Robert Downey was hot now, and now the next big role was Sherlock Holmes. So I followed the news. And then when he mentioned Sherlock Holmes in the emails, I exactly knew this is a big movie. And then I went through the audition phase, but funny enough, not like a typical tape audition.
Yeah.
You know, it was, they wanted to know how physically imposing I would be, I suppose. So they wanted to do simply pictures of mean faces. Of course, I had a collection of my wrestling pictures, right?
Yeah.
So I sent a whole bunch of them to them. Then they wanted to see me run because you remember the movie, I run away a lot from Holmes with his cattle prod.
Yeah.
And they wanted to see if I could run because they're thinking a big guy can't run, you know. So, and I'm a runner now. Funny enough, in the last couple of years, since the corrections thing, the training, I'm a runner. I run 3 times a week. So at the time, I was not. I was not a runner. So we set up this taping with a friend of mine in Shediac, actually, in the racetrack behind the high school. And so the night before, I wanted to try out. Made the mistake of doing a test run.
run. Yeah.
If I could do it. Oh yeah. I did a sprint. Oh, I'm good with that. And then the next day, of course, my legs were completely dead. So the taping was screwed up. I screwed up the taping. Couldn't do the taping. I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
And I thought I screwed up I lost the role because of it, but they didn't care.
No.
They still wanted me anyway. So what was the whole point of it all?
It's so ridiculous what they ask for sometimes, or what they're looking for. You know, it's so ridiculous. Like sometimes you'll get these tape requests, and it's like, you know, like the thing. It's like they want to see you pick up a bottle. It's like you can't you assume that someone that has, you know, is an actor can pick up a bottle? Like, you know, it's just like strange stuff. Like it's really weird.
But they want to make sure you can jump through hoops for them. So.
Yeah, I suppose so. At least you can take direction, I suppose. But
no, they flew me. Funny, they never fully offered me the role because I was by myself. I didn't have an agent at that time. I had an agent maybe like a year later. At the time, I didn't have an agent, and then they flew me down to London, business class. I said, oh, all right.
Oh, hey.
Do a wardrobe fitting.
Yeah.
Met the cast, you know, do a script reading. And then, which is exciting, and met everybody was there. Robert Downey, Jude Law, Rachel McAdams. Oh, wow, that's cool. Very exciting. And then did some fight training, some rehearsing. And then at the end of the day, before they took me to the airport, did I get the role? And they looked at me, because some guys were like, well, yeah. What the hell are you talking about?
You're at the reading.
You're at the reading. You wouldn't invest a lot of money to fly me over the ocean there. You know?
That's awesome.
But and then I went back a few weeks later to shoot, and I was there for 2 months.
Oh wow!
And they put me up in a nice apartment in London in 2 months.
That's crazy, like 2 months. You know what I mean? Like to do a role that was like 10 minutes in the movie, probably 15 minutes.
And only had if I remember right, 14 days of shooting in 2 months. Yeah. So which means the rest of the time I was just living, you know, doing.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's super cool. What was what's working like? What I'm a huge fan of Guillermo Del Toro. So obviously, The Strain and Pacific Rim are 2 things I want to chat with you about. The Strain was really cool because like your character was amazing in it, and even that you got to be yourself in the flashback scene where you see how the master came to
face. With all hair.
And like and get to see that your affable nature. You're like a kind, you know, lord in the community, helping out kids and like play, you know, being a nice guy before the.
And then I turned on the kids.
Yeah.
Afterwards, when I turned into the master.
Yeah.
That was it was very exciting. Pacific Rim. Well, it came about because Guillermo saw me in the Big Bang movie I did with Antonio Banderas.
Yeah, you're the boxer. Yeah.
I'll play this Russian boxer. But Del Toro saw that movie. Well, you know, he watches all sorts of movies, and that movie was kind of obscure. You know?
Yeah, it's a strange movie too. It's like
very strange movie. Yeah,
it's a very different tone. Like it was cool. It was kind of like a crime movie, but had like a weird existentialist tone to it. I don't know.
About the Big Bang Theory.
Yeah, nature and like reality and all that stuff too. Yeah,
it was very cool, very strange. But he saw the movie and he liked my part. He liked my look, whatever, and he offered me the part to play the Russian in the Pacific Rim. and which is wow, exciting. Pacific Rim is the big. I think it's the biggest movie I ever did, production wise.
I would assume it must have been all green screen. Is it just standing in front of green screen?
Well, most of it was green screen, most of it for sure, but it was all practical sets as well.
No, cool.
You know, the cafeteria, the Shadow Dome, I guess the big control base, and there's a lot of practical stuff. Well, of course, you got green screen.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that movie. I love kaiju movies.
We did the head part where we're controlling. That was all practical stuff.
That's cool. That must have been a trip. Well,
we're all strapped up in it, you know, harnessed in, and we're on a gimbal and moving like water thrown at us. Smoke. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Tough. It was hard. But it worked in the movie because it's so physical. It really wasn't real, you know. Well, it was a great time. Great people. People are nice. It's a great experience.
And Del Toro must be a cool guy to hang out with.
Cool guy, very nice man, very pleasant man, very smart guy.
Yeah.
Very easy. You know, when he talks, you just want to let him talk. He knows his stuff, you know. Yeah. And very, very, very pleasant guy. Very nice man.
Did that connection lead to The Strain as well, or was that?
He offered me the role as the master. It's funny, a year before I was in Toronto shooting Pacific Rim. Friends of mine were in a comic book store, and he said, the guys, and then my friend showed up with a comic book, said, you'd be great in that part. The Strain comic book, which Guillermo co-wrote. He said, because he thought Guillermo, since I'm working with Guillermo in Pacific Rim, he might do The Strain maybe in the future. Now maybe that could be a good movie or a TV series. We didn't know. Yeah, you could be great in that part, you know, in the master. You know, then, okay, that would be cool, but didn't think of it. And a year later, of course, he offers me the part as the master.
That's awesome. It's one of my favorite vampire versions. It
was different, very unique for vampires.
Well, to make it like a virus, you know, like it sounds like an infection.
Make it as it could really happen. You know what I mean? Instead of the Twilight or the True Blood. Yeah. This one this could happen. Type of deal.
And combining it in a way that you still get some of the old world fun vampire stuff, like the Dracula stuff. But with a more real world practical, like, you know, pandemic virus kind of version.
Well, especially what we went through the last couple of years makes it a little more.
Oh yeah, that's true.
relevant. You know what I mean? It's interesting, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I always thought his work on like the Blade 2 was like I love the vampires in that, and like I think that movie was fantastic. Yeah. So I he brought more of that. I got to expand on it in a funner way, and he did.
Yeah. No, it was great times. The wardrobe was awesome. The makeup it's cool playing the main bad guy. It's pretty neat though.
I was disappointed when he shifted forms and became the other guy. I was like,
when I got cast, I read the books before. Of course, I wanted to read the books and realized that the master changed his bodies to in the second book, I guess. And okay, so I might not have this role until the end of the show, the end of the series. And sure enough, the second season, midway in the middle of the second season, they decided to change it up with the Boulevard. But
a big cast and cool cast. Like Corey Stoll's a cool actor. I really like Kevin Durant. He's awesome. So
Kevin Durant, he's a good friend of mine.
Oh, really? Awesome. Cool. Well,
he's a French guy. He's French. He's from Northern Ontario.
Oh, really? I knew he's Canadian. I didn't know.
Thunder Bay. He's a Thunder Bay guy.
Oh, right on.
And he lived in LA for the last dozen years, so he's a great actor.
He did a movie that I think is really underappreciated. It's the Adam McGoyan one, The Captive. The one that
it's with Ryan Reynolds.
I think that movie is one a lot of people slept on, but his performance in it is amazing.
He puts 100% in every role he does.
That movie is incredibly unsettling, and that's what it should be. It's really good.
He transforms himself for sure. He loses weight, gains weight, whatever. I learned a lot from him. He's pretty nice man, big heart. He's a cool guy.
Nice cool. Guy. That's awesome to hear. So I'll wrap it up. I mean, Deadpool 2 looked fun. You got to do a little bit of be in the comic book world.
Worked with Ryan Reynolds. Was a funny guy. Didn't have a lot of time with him.
No.
But whatever time I had on set with him was pretty cool.
Awesome.
Guy.
And Becky,
you have to have makeup, just a little touch up here and there, and that's it. Put the jumpsuit, yellow jumpsuit.
Hang out with Omega Red and a bunch of other people in prison.
I hung out with Josh Brolin. Brolin was on set.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, this cool guy.
That would have been neat. He seems like a cool guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Becky, of course, was kind of like a weird underground hit that came out of nowhere, which is a pretty fun. They're doing a sequel too.
Because the pandemic helped a lot for that movie. It was the only movie that was released. All the big movies on hold. That movie was released in the drive-ins, and that was kind of a big hit at the time because of that. So the COVID helped.
Yeah, it's really. It's also neat to see Kevin James play like a real villain. Like,
the first time seeing a villain, the Nazi guy, for Christ's sake, neo-Nazi. It was one of my best parts. It's a part I understood I could play.
Mm-hmm.
When I auditioned for it, I get this guy. I understand. I can play this guy.
Yeah.
Very naive, very emotional. I can play him.
Yeah.
And it was awesome role. Great part, and most of the scene I had was Kevin and Lulu Wilson. She's awesome. She's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And it was fun just beating up on Jeff McCall.
Mikhail, yeah.
Mikhail.
Yeah.
He was intimidated of me. He's a big guy too. Tall, in good shape.
Yeah.
When I shoved him down when I got in the house and shoved him. He was a bit intimidated at first with me, so we kind of worked in the movie, I suppose.
I imagine you would be. I mean, most actors are probably not used to being tossed around by a big guy, especially like Mikhail's a tall dude. So
I gave him a choke slam. That's what I did. I kind of choked him. But no, good fun. It was fun. It was just a fun time. Great experience being as an actor,
Yeah.
And then the movie turned out to be great, and it just made a sequel. That's
it's coming as I saw they're doing a sequel.
Half of Becky.
Yeah, which is cool.
I thought, well, I could be in the sequel, and then I remember, oh no, she shot me in the face.
Yeah, it's not the kind of movie where they bring back a zombie or something. But...
Yeah, exactly. It'll be a flashback.
That's awesome. So, do you have anything else coming up in the acting world?
Well, the production's just got to, I didn't have time the last couple of years. The idea of why I entered this profession is you do have options.
Yep.
Leave time. So it's pretty much like pick and choose because they have to be something to be worthwhile to do. Mm-hmm. I'm not giving up on acting. I just had to do something.
Oh yeah, well no, you got to make a living. You got a family, right? You're married.
I do love acting.
Yeah.
I love to do more. So I'm hoping to do more in the future while I'm still doing this new job too, so that's the idea.
Are you in the union? Are you an actor member?
I'm still actor.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
I'm still paying my dues.
Yeah, so me too.
But no, I mean, I wish I'd love to go back and do some more, but yeah, different priorities for sure. Priorities of before it was acting, it was always first. Now it's changed now.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you're on the back. Once you hit 50, you got to make sure. I mean, your kids are.
Well, that right? And exactly. I did my time as far as I could. I had a good time. I did as much as I could. I did the best as I could in acting or even wrestling too. But acting, I had a good run at it. I'm hoping to do some more.
Oh yeah, awesome.
If not, that's fine. I'm happy I had the experience I had. The time I had.
Place. That's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool, awesome. Well, I hope to catch up with you again sometime soon in real life. Are you doing East Coast Comic Expo this year?
I haven't been invited yet. But I might go and drop by.
Cool. We should grab a beer or something afterwards. Something.
I'd love to, man.
Oh, cool. Well, thanks so much for being on the show, Rob. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, André. Thanks for inviting me.
I'll talk to you again soon.
All right. Take care.
Bye-bye. There is my conversation with Robert Maillet. Big thanks to Rob for being on the show, and thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. Bruce Pritchard said that Robert was too nice to make it in the wrestling business, and maybe the wrestling business doesn't deserve a guy like Robert Maillet, if that's the case, because he is certainly one of the most pleasant people I've ever spent time with. Certainly in one of our conversations, it's easy for you to see how much of a nice guy he is. And, stepping on others is what it takes to succeed in certain industries. Perhaps certain industries should change. So I'm hoping that maybe someday the wrestling industry will reflect that talented, kind people can get ahead instead of just being cutthroat and vicious in your ascension to power. But Rob certainly deserves the beautiful career he's had, and I wish him all the best in the future. And I hope I do get to catch up with him again in person, because he's just as fun to hang out and chat with in real life as he is on the show. If you're a fan of this show, please rate and subscribe, as I mentioned earlier. Also, you can check me out on the X-Rated podcast, the X-Men Anime Review Show, in which Davin Scalehorn and I go through episodes of the X-Men show from the 90s and review them, chat about them, talk about them. We have guest stars. We have people that have been on the show before. Not on my show, but have been on... we have had people on that show who were animators, voice actors, showrunners. And you get a bit of this on that. So if you don't catch me on this show, if you're missing more André and you want to see me interview others, you can see me interview those folks over on that show from time to time. But otherwise, it's just me and Davin having fun watching X-Men cartoons, which is a blast. So go check it out. There's a bunch of other shows on the United Federation of Podcast Network that we are part of. Another one that Davin is on with Chris Murphy is the Hold Up podcast, which they talk about movies, and I've been digging that one as well, listening to them yell at each other and be incredibly harsh about old movies from different times. It's actually pretty fun, especially when they don't get along with something. It's a lot of yelling, and Davin may be one of the most extreme people I know when it comes to his takes on certain movies, but it's endearing, and his passion for movies is certainly there, so I appreciate that as well. But yeah, go check those shows out. And be back here in 2 weeks' time for this show, which I'm not sure who the guest is yet. I got a few folks, as I always do, on the line. Once I have that confirmed, I will reveal that on social media. I'm also considering starting a Patreon page for this, in which maybe I could offer a video option for certain podcasts on that, which might be fun. So if that's something you think you may be interested in, let me know, and I could use it towards my decision-making process. But in the meantime... hope you have a great couple weeks. I hope you're enjoying the warming weather in my part of the world, whatever part of the world you're in. I hope it's also fun weather, good times. And I often review movies on social media that I see, because I watch a lot of them. But I watched one last night that's often popped up on lists of Lovecraftian movies that you may not have heard of. And this one has popped up quite a bit on that. So I watched it last night. It's a bit bloated. It's like 2 hours and 20 minutes long, which is a bit long for a horror film, but it's interesting. It's one I hadn't heard of before, and it's kind of cool. Like, it's not, I mean, the budget doesn't blow you through the roof, but it has enough interesting stuff in it to make for a pretty cool little movie. And it doesn't hold your hand too much through it. If you know a bit about occult and certain things with Eastern occultism, you'll enjoy it. If you like Lovecraft stuff, I think you'll enjoy it on that level. But check it out. It's called The Empty Man. And it's actually available on Disney Plus, because it's a Fox movie. So check it out. It's actually a good movie. And if you like Lovecraftian horror, this might be the movie for you. But anyway, thanks again for tuning in, and I will see you next time.
The Graphic Histories Podcast is a proud partner of the United Federation of Podcasts.